Thank you so much for coming, everyone, and for joining us today. I am Carolina Barbeiro. I am part of the Altal.io's team. Today, our speakers are Antoine Craske, co-founder of the company Atal.io, and also Nelson Jorge, founder of the company Delft Digital Learning. Together, both companies created the Test Automation Camp project, and today we are going to cover the value of test automation in software quality. Before we start, just a quick note, this session will be recorded and then it will be available on YouTube. We will then announce it on LinkedIn. If you have any questions during the session, feel free to leave them in the Zoom chat or even your suggestions or testing experiences that you would like to share with us. Feel free to leave them there. And I think we are good to go. Antoine, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Karina, for the introduction. Yeah, so today we'll share on the value of test automation in the software industry, software context. And we will start with a big picture of software in the whole value chain of digital transformation to be able to answer that question. So about me, so I'm working at Redoute mainly in a different engineering position, and I'm also involved in some venture like Test Automation Camp we'll share at the end today. And I'm also convinced by the power of communities. So this is why I'm animating a series of communities you can see here that are all linked to software. So in fact, in terms of value for software quality, I think we first need to understand what is the value of software today. So I will not read every definition every quote that we have here. You can read them. The short, I would say, summary of these quotes is that companies today are depending on software to survive and reinvent their business. So in fact, it's not like an optional thing to manage software properly. It's really a must-have requirement to be able to transform organization. And it's here you have two main influential people. The first one is Jeff Bezos. I think we all know him for Amazon. The second one, maybe you don't know him, but it's the CIO of Cypress. So Cypress is one of the main open source test automation framework for mainly a full stack JavaScript tool. So it's one tool in the test automation market. And the last part is the need and the drive of need and for quality engineering for companies, and it's from Deloitte, so it's like on the big consulting thing in the market. And their key, I would say, output is that quality engineering is the top priority for businesses. So it's not the top priority for software; it's top priority for companies. So it makes it increase a lot the criticality of software for companies. Some numbers to have in mind when we are talking about digital transformation. So right now you have many companies that are appearing in very short time frame. So this number, for example, the first one, $1 billion, it's the valuation of companies in less than 6 months. So just to have in mind that is 2000, this type of scale was happening after 20 years, in fact. And right now it's happening in 6 months. The other differences now in the digital is that it's not only happening to social media and social network. For example, we all knew, Facebook, Twitter, etc., that are very known names in the industry. They disrupted a lot of sectors. But right now, what we see is that you see every sector that is being disrupted by technology. So we talk about agri-tech for agricultural, health tech. So in fact, it means that, and it's a bit the quote of software is eating the world, it means that software is being embedded in every part of the business, and it's what makes companies the need to accelerate software delivery, because in that context where you have a lot of new actors coming, leverage software, and they are very fast, companies have to readapt what they're offering to their customer to survive, because the new actors are much more faster, they deliver more value with normally less cost, etc. So a majority of companies today, and it's 85%, so it's not 50 or 60, it's like 85% of companies have the imperative to accelerate to be able to survive the digital transformation. So it's already a first input in terms of what the value of test automation for software quality. What we start to see is that in fact software quality is to be able to accelerate and deliver value to the customer. But normally, I think if you are working in software, or if you see software from far, The tendency of the ecosystem when we have a pressure is to focus exclusively on speed. So we go very fast because we think short term, we need to deliver value, etc. And we put aside the quality requirement. In fact, if we do that with software today and the digital transformation, it will not work. I think personally, for example, last day I installed an application to buy something. It was not working properly. It was with bugs and some strange messages. I just disinstalled the application and I switched to competitor because there is a lot of offer. So it means that companies that will focus only on speed in terms of software transformation will fail or are failing, in fact, and they need to equilibrate quality and speed to be able to survive. So it's really what we are trying to achieve, and this is where test automation should contribute. So test automation is not only for efficiency, deliver fast software, it must be able to equilibrate these two imperatives of transformation. And you may heard in the ecosystem, so in my blog QUnit, I'll talk a lot about quality at speed software, for example, but it's really what we are all searching for to transform companies. So yeah, a bit of complex scheme, but it's what we have to do when we do software. So if we look at the yellow box, it's a simplified way to see a software delivery. It's like what we want to deliver for the customer with software. We do design, development, operation, and we try to measure, is it providing value to the customer? Below, you see all the activities that are involved inside the value chain. What we tend to see, it's test automation here in the middle, or when we have developed something and we say, let's do some test automation after we have done the code change. In fact, what I will want to share with you today is that test automation is not this. In fact, it's not only there. It must be embedded in every activity of the software to support the famous quality at speed requirement. But this drive other type of challenges. It's already hard to do test automation in a single silo. There is a lot of tools, complexity, collaboration, etc. But the real value that test automation should bring is the transversality of software. So this is the first challenge of quality at speed software, is that transversality in the software value chain, because each of these silos was not made to work together by design. So it's the first challenge we have to address. Another one, it's the visibility. Because when we do technical topic, coding, testing, etc., we tend to be not really understood by people that are not technical, so project management, manager, CEO, CTO, etc., because it's very technical. So there is a challenge of translating or communicating the value of test automation. And this is also why we are sharing on that topic today, is how to bring value with test automation. A cascading topic of the transversality challenge is within the technology part. So in fact, if we want this cycle to be fast, because we talk about quality at speed, so it means that the challenge for organization is to make these cycles very fast with quality and speed. So it means that all the layers below, processes, technology, etc., that you see must be interconnected together and work properly and efficiently to support company's reinvention. And another challenge of test automation, because we all think, yes, test automation is faster than manual testing. Yes, but if you start to have 500 tests or 1,000 tests, normally what happens is that it can last hours to run, 4 hours, 8 hours or more, in fact, in some cases for companies. But it lacks value, because in fact, what is happening is that your business wants fast change. Developers are performing small change in the value chain, and they want to deliver it fast. So if your test automation is or campaign lasts 8 hours or more, what happens normally is that the development team will not wait for your test. They will proceed with the change, taking the risk. So it's another challenge of test automation, is this fast feedback loop, in fact, that must be understandable. So this is why you are really complex challenges to address in test automation for the entire value stream. So what can we do? So this one I will pass, sorry, I forgot to remove it. So what can we do? I think I will pass a bit of buzzword. So it's not to use the buzzword, it's more to explain the concept. And just after we'll go on more concrete stuff that we can do. Normally in test automation paradigm, so you may have heard around continuous testing. So it have different meaning. So here I will focus on what I believe it is continuous testing. So continuous testing can be seen sometimes I perform regularly the test in a specific environment. So this is for me the definition we should get out, because it's too narrowed. In fact, continuous testing is to be able to support the entire value chain we see on top, to be able to provide fast feedback around the software changes. And in fact, you should be able to provide regular feedback at the minimal cost possible that reduce the maximum risk. So this is why it's really a question of equilibrium. And normally it's best in test automation to equilibrate the effort around the value chain instead of doing, for example, a lot of tests in a QA here, but after you have 0 tests in production, like observability, monitoring, etc. And you, for example, you don't do testing of hypotheses, for example, in the specification. Yeah. So this is the first paradigm of continuous testing that companies need. You may have heard also, and not only in testing or test automation on quality topic, around shift left and shift right. So in fact, shift left is to include by design or upstream in the value chain requirement for a specific thing. So we can talk, for example, shift left security is to include security by design, for example, to be better implemented afterward. We have the same in test automation. So if we say a shift left test automation, in fact, it's really what I was talking to be able to get out of the vertical silo of test automation that is normally in a test environment to be able to go on the left of the chain. And we have in the same mindset, shift right, which is to go near the production environment, and not only the technical production environment, it's to go near the customer. It's to see, am I providing value to the customer right now? Are the customer able to pay, to browse my website, to browse my product, etc. And you see that these approaches are complementary. You see sometimes some blog title to attract traffic. Should you do shift left or shift right? The answer is quite simple. You should do both with an increasing level of maturity, because normally you cannot do everything at the same time. And specific paradigms that we start to see in the ecosystem, it's in fact the quality engineering that is driving that. And it's normally not talked that much, but they are able to answer this type of challenges we have here, fast feedback and visibility. So, the first one is the shift up. So in fact, when we say shift up in a specific practice, is to be able to communicate the value to people that are not inside, I would say, inside the chain. So stakeholders, manager, leaders, etc. So when you say shift up in a test automation, is that you are able to communicate and provide value of test automation to a lot of other stakeholders on the value chain. And you have also the shift down that is appearing for me. And this is a bit what we see in the ecosystem with all the evolution in terms of technology and integration. So normally what you have below, it's all non-functional requirement. So we talk a lot about security right now, and it's becoming a must-have requirement. We talk about observability, it's another requirement. And in fact, a lot of areas, including test automation, are now increasing in maturity into that area. So we see, for example, many more security test automation tools appearing that are working well natively, but we also see test automation tools that are interconnected with security solutions, for example. So in fact, it's really this type of improvement we are seeing in the ecosystem, and it's these 4 axes today that are helping to drive the quality at speed transformation for companies. So now if we want to answer how test automation can provide or improve software quality, we need to have different perspectives here. So I talk about here on the left and the top, you are more on the business and the product part, because you are defining the product and communicated with business stakeholder mainly in terms of languages. When you go on the right, you are mainly, you are keeping on the business and product, but you are more talking about the business operation, because it's where you have the user experience, it's where people are buying, etc. And then below, it's more linked to the business and technology. So it's not only technology, because technology is powering the business, but you are more on the non-functional aspect. So similarly, on the left, you are on the design part, non-functional requirements, and on the right, you are on the non-functional operation. So, and what you can do in test automation for quality, you can do a lot of things. So here I put a sample of how test automation can help with software quality. And you see that you have a lot of areas that can be covered in that aspect. So this is why we need expertise. We need people that know what they're doing, because companies that say, I will invest in test automation. Okay, but which type? To solve which problem, to accelerate at which level. So you see that you have a lot of things you can do. So if we pick some example, for example, in test automation, you can even go on the shift left part. What thing you can do, for example, is a BDD. So it's a behavior-driven development. So it's to specify user requirement or product requirement with a given when then way. And in fact, you can test these requirements and define them as code to be able to validate them when they will be developed. So you're able to automate really early in the process. You can even validate, for example, so a lot of companies need APIs to interconnect together. So you can do contract first testing to be able to test your contract on the design part before you implement anything afterward. And it's one way, for example, test automation contribute to quality at speed because you are able to validate as early as possible the quality with a very fast speed because you give feedback early and you avoid a lot of rework downstream. Yeah. And after, if we take other examples, so in terms of shift right, you can do more business and product monitoring with test automation. So user journey monitoring, for example, it's a type of test automation. You are running a test every 5 minutes to know how my user journey being supported. But you can also do some monitoring on, for example, security, performance. So you can do DAST, which is a dynamic security testing. So it's like to verify on a continuous basis, am I ensuring the security requirement in the production. But it's not only quality that we are talking about, we are also talking about speed. So I give some example of the value. Now, if you do what we have shown previously and you do it correctly, you are able to unlock the speed with the quality, because what we share is ready to equilibrate these two forces. So what you are able to do if we go left to right, so for example, this is the case I was sharing, you are able to validate quickly the scenario and to quickly fix them in the development. You are able to validate contract API before coding them with partners. So you save a lot of time, a lot of development effort, etc. And at the end, what you are able to do is to deploy fast with a high confidence because you have like a continuous health check given by test automation. And it's really one of the main value of test automation is to give you on a continuous basis. We are talking about continuous testing, is to give you, are you on the right track? So test automation will not solve bad coding, but it will tell you it's not correctly coded or it's not meeting a specific requirement, and it enable you to adapt very fast. So this is the main value that we are powering with test automation, and test automation is also useful in operation. So in terms of continuous value measurement, etc. So you can verify user journey, business monitoring, specific data monitoring. So you can really help to power and to ensure that the business that is powered with software is working as expected. And test automation, in fact, so what I'm talking about, it starts really to grow in the market because before test automation was like quality assurance. It's like in manufacturing, it's the guys that test if we have time and we may listen to them. This is changing a lot due to the challenge I was sharing is that companies have to accelerate a lot the transformation due to the digital imperative. If they go fast only with speed, they fail. So test automation is becoming really a de facto requirement for companies to unlock the quality at speed requirement. So it's one of the things they have to invest drastically. So what you see here, for example, it's the automation testing market size projection up to 2030. And it's in billion. So you see that already this year and the next one, for example, we see that it will drastically increase across all regions, in fact. So it's really a massive improvement. It's also happening in specific technologies. So here, for example, we pick the API part. So we all talk about connecting platforms, API, microservice, cloud, etc. So this explains also the boom in the API testing market that you see here, also across all regions in this report. But when we talk a lot about test automation, what is value, why we need quality at speed for organization, but there is always one question that remains, that is always a source of high debate in teams, is who have to do test automation? Because after it's always, we all want to do it, but we don't want to, or there is conflict in organization. So typical answers that we have from people is, okay, it's probably manual testers that will move to QA automation, or it's a quality engineer, or no, we don't want anyone with a quality title, we want software engineer to do their test. Bon. It's one type of answer that is possible. Then you have the camp of the guys that say, no, we don't need people. It's technologies that will solve everything with automated tests that will do everything for ourselves. We have RPA, which is robotic process automation. And we have artificial intelligence that will change the game, etc. Bon. My conviction is that we will have really this hybrid approach to the transformation and to test automation is that you need to combine both. Today, there is nothing automated that work alone by itself. AI is very narrow, that not mature enough in terms of interconnectivity, etc. So you can have some very narrow data science use case, but they are not transversal in the value chain of software. So then you are failing in quality at speed. So you need to combine the two, in fact, to transform. I have a specific answer in terms of who should test. I think it's really, we need expertise in test automation, in testing, in quality area. So for me, you cannot say the software engineer will test only them, because you see the panorama of testing we had. Software engineers are able to do part of the test. They are not able to do all the type of tests you need to ensure quality at speed. So you need various type of profile to ensure tests, and you need good tooling to support correct process that you set up. So for me, this is really the answer. But there is after an issue with that we need people and technology. In fact, you see here the challenges of test automation. In fact, in implementing test automation in organization. So you have one part which is linked to the digital transformation is requirements change too often, but it's a bit normal because business does not know what will work first, so they have to test and change the requirements. So in fact, this is the variability we have in the digital ecosystem. And after, you have two main issues linked to the lack of qualified resource, because if you don't have the right process and method, usually it's really directly linked to the lack of qualified resource and the good people that you have internally. And after, you have some technical topic we will not cover today. So in these specific pain points that represent a major part of the issue in adopting and implementing test automation, in fact, we have worked with Nelson and a company to try and to contribute solving that issue. Because in fact, what we have done with Untitled in the past, not that far away, we work a lot with companies that had the problem we were sharing. So they wanted to accelerate, but they need quality and speed. So they come and say, I want to accelerate my software value chain, but I want to equilibrate quality and speed. So we help a lot to staff, so on the people and technology part and the process. So to implement quality engineering methodology, to train people on the quality assurance mindset, on quality engineering, on testing, manual, test automation, etc. In the end, we enable companies to accelerate with quality and with significant effort we have to do. But when we did that, in fact, we passed a lot of time of doing synchronous training with the people. In fact, it was what led us, what take us a lot of time and where we wanted to be able to scale that. So in fact, we work on a project with Untitled and DDL Learning, which is represented by Nelson today. So we have built test automation camp. In fact, it's 2 day, and we had like an MVP approach. Now it's really the live version that is finally live. Today we are providing e-learner courses in the area of test automation, and we focused on fundamental content. So we start really by the basis of test automation with low-code tools. So we picked Catalan because it's a tool that any type of profile that were listed, so people from manual, people that know test automation, or software engineers can easily adopt. So we focus on that today. Our ambition is to be able to grow an e-learning community, not only on technology, but on quality at speed, test automation, etc., and support advanced career paths in automation to be able to act on the transversality of software and don't be restricted to only one tool. In fact, we want to help people to grow with this mindset. So now I will let after, so Nelson, George will present a bit the product, in fact, that we have built. Yeah.
But before Nelson starts, maybe we can have a quick look at the video. Just 1 minute to give an overview of the project.
Yeah, so I will start. Oh, if it can, yeah.
Have you ever thought about speeding up your software testing and reducing manual tests? Or maybe even considering taking your first steps in test automation? We present you Test Automation Camp, your guide to become a valuable quality assurance automation engineer. Test Automation Camp is an online test automation training program created by quality assurance professionals, covering web, mobile, and API testing, all in one single platform. Enroll in our 4-course program to cover all main areas of test automation, or simply take a specific course from our program to fit your specific learning needs. All this at your own pace. Combining theory and practice with interactive lessons, videos, and practical exercises based on real-life software testing processes. Test Automation Camp will prepare you for the future challenges you will face as a quality assurance automation professional. Get ready to apply what you will learn in this course in your workplace and become more valuable to your organization. Enroll now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you, Antoine. I think this first part that was more, well, not, I wouldn't say very technical, but technical enough, right? And it presented what's the value, right, of test automation. I think we had some interesting insights. I hope we have some questions in the end to, deepen a bit some of these concepts that Antoine presented. I will talk a little bit about our project. As you know, my name is Nelson. I'm from Delft Digital Learning, and in collaboration with Antoine and his team and my team, so basically it's a unified team now for Test Automation Camp. We developed this, I wouldn't simplify it as an e-learning project because it's more than that, right? It's a test automation camp that focuses on test automation, and we have a slide that will present what differentiates us ahead. So basically, it's a program because we have so far 4 courses. 3 are available now, and 1 is coming pretty soon in the coming weeks. And the main goal is to help teams, individuals, to master test automation, right? According to what Antoine referred, the needs of having people skilled in this field, and our goal is to cover that. It was created by Antoine and Sonia, Antonio, so many experts, I would say top experts in the field, and us as digital learning experts. So basically it's a combination. It's not just simply training delivered online like lectures or something like that. It's really thought didactically, right? So digital learning has its way of designing, developing, delivering, and combining this, we have a quality product that you can verify and enroll in our courses. We're covering web test automation, right? So basically it's the foundations course and an advanced course. We also have mobile and API. In our courses, you will find real challenges. So basically context, situations that happen in a daily basis in this field. And the idea is that our students, our learners are confronted with these challenges, and they will have to be able to solve them, right? And we will have examples. We have plenty of information that will guide the student to enable to solve these challenges and to apply them in their job in the real world. The courses are totally online, self-paced. I think you all know what that means, but basically you can start and finish it whenever you like, whenever you have time. And because of that, they are produced in a way that will guide you when you're studying, basically. So the content we develop, for example, the feedback that you get from the exercises that you do, right? Everything is there to help you succeed in your course and to use that information and that knowledge in your own context, in your job now or in the future. And these courses, you saw a little bit about it in the video that we just showed, but basically they're interactive lessons that have videos, as I said, not lectures, but short videos that explain how to do certain functions with Catalan, and many practice examples that will enable you to actually use what you learned in these real world examples and then transfer that to your own context. So the 4 courses that we started with are, as I said, web testing foundations, advanced web testing. Go Mobile was the last one that was released, and the API testing foundations is coming soon, and we can expect next week, I believe, I would say in July, this last course will be launched, and the full package, the starting package, will be available as single courses that you can enroll if you're interested in only mobile, for example, or only an API. but also in the full package that has the 4 courses. That's the program, what we call the program. As I said earlier, right, what differentiates us, basically, you can find many courses. I'm not sure how many, but there are courses out there on test automation. What differentiates it, right? What makes us different, right? Our focus is exclusively on test automation. You see that simply by accessing our platform. Our content is built with the web content accessibility guidelines in mind, so it's accessible platform, and the content inside it's responsive, multimedia, it had different formats, subtitles, and it's everything in just one single platform that covers it all. It's more than technical training, right? As I said, it brings context, it brings situations that you will need to solve, right? And that's where you will use the tools to execute the tests and to bring that knowledge again to real world. Focus on what Antoine said during his presentation, right? Quality at speed. So basically that's achieved here with the instructions that we will be giving you in our courses. You will see that it's I would say easy in the sense that you can follow these step-by-step tutorials and execute these tests with low code in that sense, and more affordable in the sense that the value that we offer, as you can see here with this team that united to produce the test automation camp, it's more than just the trainers delivering content. It's a combination of didactical approaches for digital learning, real world examples. So it's something that has value, and that's why we also believe that, you know, when you pay for these courses, you get more value than compared to others that are more, I would say, raw in that way. So in that sense, we believe that it's more affordable. And this is the team that we've been talking about, right? So Antoine, Antonio, Carolina, Sonia, other elements that also helped to develop this. On my side, I have Elsa, Danielle, he's the multimedia expert. Elsa is the instructional designer of the project. And we also have other people that supported us during the content storyboarding and then development and as an e-learning content, right? So experienced people that reviewed and tested this content and that made suggestions. So basically it's already been through this testing process and refining and then making the content better to better fit the needs of the future participants. So we have Joel and Ricardo who helped us, and I'm not sure if they're here, but thank you for that help. And also some program endorsements, some people that work in well-known companies, Colt Technology Services and Capgemini. So they endorsed our course in the sense that it has value, and this value can be brought to companies like this or smaller companies, but we have well-known people checking and helping with us in having something that's meaningful to everyone who's interested in testing automation. So we have a special coupon for the participants that are joining us today. So from each course, you can get a 40% discount. So this is the code, webinar 40 code. We can put it in the chat maybe, so people can easily copy it. And yeah, if there's any question, we also have a contact email, so feel free to ask. But basically, it's the fourth course, API Testing Foundation, will be launched soon, so it's not available yet, but it will apply the same coupon code if you want to register in that one. And then the 4-course program, that as soon as we have the API Testing Foundations available, we will put that all together in one single course, where you have inside that course these 4 modules, right? So the modules that we showed earlier. And this also, you can also get a discount, right, by participating in the 4. If you're in need, or if your employees, trainees, people that you know, if they're interested in the full packages, of course, there's an advantage, because in the end, it's cheaper than doing a single course. But having the single courses available is also interesting for people who are already in the field and want to dive deep into mobile and API. That's why we have it also available as individual modules for people to enroll in. Yeah. Okay. I'll pass it to Carolina now, and thank you everyone for your attention, and hopefully we will stay a few more minutes for some questions that you may have. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Nelson. Now it's the time to answer all your questions. Do you like to have anything else? Do you want to ask a question about what Antoine said about test quality, test automation, or about test automation camp project? Don't be shy.
Yeah, we're 26 now, so I think I would say that if you have any question, just open your microphone and
if you want
and contact us.
Yeah, Antoine also mentioned some challenges that professionals from test automation face. I don't know if you faced some challenges similar to that, but if you want to share your testing experiences, we are here to listen.
It is our hour of lunch, I think. People are hungry.
In Portuguese, if you prefer, that's okay also for us.
Okay, but if there's no question, we can close. We'll come back soon with other webinars. So also, if you want to leave feedback in the chat or in the LinkedIn page of what you would like to have in terms of content, but we plan to have some meetup or webinar with concrete test automation sharing, so like practice. So if you're interested with something else, just let us know and we'll craft that for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As I said in the beginning, this recording will be available on YouTube. We will then announce it on LinkedIn. So follow us on social media to keep track of all the news. And if you have any questions about the topics that Antoine covered, or even about the project, you can send us an email to contact@testautomation.camp, as you can see here. And thank you for joining us today.